Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. My name is Les Madid. Welcome to our session, Challenge Your Limits with Sister Linda Sarsour. In this session, you will learn about how facing tough challenges allows a chance to growth. In the upcoming 2020 presidential elections, the outcome may be surprising. However, we as Muslims have to remove our fear and limitations in order to have a chance to grow and take on bigger challenges. It is my honor to introduce our speaker, Linda Sarsour. She is a community activist and a mother of three. Ambitious, outspoken, and independent, Sister Linda shatters stereotypes of Muslim women while also holding on to her religious and cultural heritage. Linda was recently named American Muslim of the Year by the largest Muslim civic rights organization in the US. Her strengths are the areas of civic rights, community organization, civic engagement, and immigration rights advocacy. Please help me welcome our speaker, Sister Linda Sarsour. Jazakallah khair.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm going to try that one more time. MAS-ICNA. Assalamu alaikum. That's what I'm talking about. I am very honored and humbled to be here with all of you today. I've had such a wonderful time being here at MAS. Being here before the beginning of next year, before 2020, is giving me the fuel that we all need to win in 2020. Is the Muslim American community ready to win in 2020? I don't believe you. Is the Muslim American community ready to win in 2020? All right. So here's my 2020 preparation talk, my pep talk, getting you ready for the year that's coming ahead. But before I do that, my dear sisters and brothers, we have to understand where we are right now as a community. What is happening around us, not only in this country, but across the world. We are living in very challenging times. And I know many of you already know this. But every single day my heart breaks for the Uyghur Muslims in China, for our sisters and brothers in Kashmir, for our Palestinian sisters and brothers, for our family in Yemen, for our revolutionaries in Sudan, for the beautiful people of Somalia, for those imprisoned in Egypt, for Muslims who are oppressed all over the world, and for heartbroken, marginalized, and harmed people in every corner of the societies in which we live. Oftentimes Muslims say to me, Sister Linda, what do we do for the Uyghur Muslims? What do we do for the Rohingyas? What do we do for the people of Kashmir, the Muslims in India, the Palestinian people? You, my dear sisters and brothers, live in the most powerful country in the world. You are a community with a lot of potential. The opportunity to build the type of power that is worthy of your Muslim sisters and brothers all over the world. We have no excuses as a community to not have an influential voice that impacts our broken, harmed, marginalized people all over the world. I know that our Palestinian sisters and brothers and Uyghur Muslims in camps and Kashmiris and Indian Muslims and Somalis and Sudanese and Yemenis all over are waiting for you. They are counting on you. They are asking, where are we as a Muslim American community? And I want to be able to say to them, we are here. We are building power. We hear your pain. We hear your brokenheartedness. And we are going to do everything that we can to organize, to mobilize, and to build power in America so we could alleviate your suffering, so we could bring justice to the places where you live. Our people deserve that, my sisters and brothers. Our people deserve and are worthy of an organized and mobilized and powerful Muslim American community. In order for us to be able to address the challenges to our communities, we have to ensure that we are not distracted. Oftentimes in the Muslim community, we become very distracted by the debates that happen. And I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Muslims are of all political parties. We are conservative, we are progressive, we are all kinds of people. We're young, we're old, we're immigrants, children of immigrants. Some of us are indigenous, some were born and raised here, some can tie their lineage back generations in this country. Some of our parents came from different countries all over the Muslim world and really all over the world. So it cannot be possible that we all Muslims are always going to agree on every issue, because we cannot agree on every issue. We have different experiences. We come from different places. But what I hope you're not distracted by, sisters and brothers, as we go into 2020, don't let anybody put you into any boxes. I don't like people putting me into boxes. I hear a lot of conversations about the liberal Muslims. I'm not a liberal Muslim. I'm a Muslim. Sisters and brothers, we need to be clear as we organize in the Muslim American community that there is nothing right or left or liberal or conservative about believing that everybody in America deserves access to health care. There is nothing right or left or liberal or conservative about believing that every child in America deserves access to high quality public education regardless of the zip code in which they live. There is nothing right or left or liberal or conservative about believing that we should have a bare minimum wage at $15 an hour so that our people in our communities don't have to work 4 and 5 jobs just to support their families. There is nothing liberal or conservative, there's nothing right or left about believing that undocumented immigrants in our community deserve to be treated with dignity and respect and deserve an earned pathway to citizenship in these United States of America. There's nothing liberal or left or conservative or progressive about believing that we live in America and that we as Muslims and our neighbors deserve to walk through the streets of their communities and our communities in safety and in security. That is a principle, sisters and brothers, that anyone who lives with us in our communities is going to be protected by our communities. There's nothing liberal or conservative or right or left about believing that our masajid are houses of God, and that anybody in our community who wants access to our Lord, access to pray, access to get closer to God and to our deen is welcomed in our masajid. I want to be very clear with all of you. I have had a very challenging few years. I have been on the receiving end of defamation and slander campaigns by some of the most powerful people in this country. I have received death threats. I have received packages to my home. I have changed my children's last names. But what I want you to know, my dear sisters and brothers, that even within these challenging times and the times that I've experienced, I always remember that my experiences as a Muslim American activist are nothing compared to the defamation, slander, violence, threats, and attacks that our beloved Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him, endured. When you talk about Islamophobia as a Muslim American community, I want you to remember that the first victim of Islamophobia was our beloved Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him. He was called a liar. He was called a magician. There were attempted assassinations on his life. But you know what he did? He never cowered. He never said, I'm going to hide. He never said, oh, I'm just going to leave the deen. This is too much pressure for me. Our beloved Prophet Muhammad had the moral courage to know that he was following a deen of compassion, a deen of love, a deen of justice, and that he was following the truth, and he was willing to risk everything to stand up for what he believed in. And I'm calling on you to emulate the courage of our beloved Prophet Muhammad, may peace and blessings be upon him, today, and be unapologetically Muslim. Because when there are challenging times, people make the decision to walk away. I'm asking you to run, sisters and brothers. Run towards the deen. Run towards the masajid. Run towards our organizations. Run back to the community. Open your arms to our young people. I need you to organize. I need you to register to vote. I need you to build, sisters and brothers. I need you to invest in our community more than you have ever invested. You know why? Because we are worthy. We are valuable. Our children are worthy of a strong, organized, courageous Muslim American community. You may have heard a lot of talk about elections at this mass convention. The honest truth is, no one is going to get free or get full liberation. We're not going to free Palestine or free Kashmir by voting in an election. That is a long-term, consistent organizing from our Muslim American communities. But what an election does, sisters and brothers, it alleviates some of that harm, some of that suffering on our people. Don't you ever forget that the first executive order by the Donald Trump administration was the Muslim ban. This administration decided which Muslims were worthy of immigrating to the United States of America. Many of us are going to be able to go home to our families. Many of you have your beautiful children running around this convention. But you have to understand that there are Yemeni fathers, Somali mothers, Libyans, Syrians, Iranians, and others who wish that they had the same opportunity as you to go home to their families. Sisters and brothers, you do not love your children more than Yemeni fathers love theirs, or Libyan fathers, or Somali mothers, or Syrian mothers, or Libyan mothers love their children. So I want you to understand that elections have consequences. Elections have consequences. What I hope that our Muslim American community does this year, as we face the challenge of defeating a white supremacist, Islamophobic, anti-Semitic, xenophobic administration, is that the Muslim community stands up and says, not on our watch. You will not get 4 more years. We're going to get up. We're going to honor our ancestors, and we're going to walk proudly into that voting booth, and we're going to vote against racism and anti-black racism and xenophobia and against Islamophobia and against all forms of bigotry in these United States of America. This 2020 election is not about who you like. A lot of times Muslim Americans think that election is a popularity contest. It's not about who you think is popular. It's not about who you like. When we get to a general election, sisters and brothers, I want you to think of the most marginalized people, the most broken and harmed people in our communities, and I want you to vote in their honor. In the general election in November of 2020, this will be an election between a fascist and not a fascist. That's how simple this 2020 election is going to be. I want to remind all of us in this room that many of us, especially those of us who are able to be here at MAS-ICNA, we are very privileged people. And we have to be grateful to Allah for the privilege that we are able to come and bring our families to a MAS-ICNA convention. But I want you to know that there are many people in the Muslim community who cannot and are unable to be with us here today. And those people are counting on you to go back to your communities. And I want you to listen to these states very, very carefully. If you are from the state of Wisconsin, the state of Ohio, if you are from Michigan, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Florida, Texas, Arizona, those are the states where you have to vote on behalf of us all. Because I'm from New York. New York is a blue state regardless of what I do. But you in those states, Muslims in those states, have the power to help us as a country to defeat fascism. Sisters and brothers, I always ask Muslims who come to these conventions to imagine for a second, who was the person, who were the people, who were the communities that sacrificed for you to be here today, live in America today, wear a hijab, be part of a Muslim student association, be able to pray in the masjid, be able to come to MAS-ICNA. Who, my dear sisters and brothers, sacrificed for you to be in this room? I want you to know, and many of you already know your own stories, but I know that your great-great-grandfather, your grandfather, your father, your mother, some people will say that their lineage goes back, and all of our Islamic lineage goes back in this country to enslaved African Muslims. Can you imagine, my dear sisters and brothers, being an enslaved African Muslim that was uprooted from their home, taken and stripped from their families, and brought by force to the United States of America? Imagine having to be forced into conversion. But I know Muslims, our iman is in our hearts. And so we know that our enslaved ancestors sacrificed everything so that they can hold on to our deen, so that when our great-great-grandparents came here, they were able to take the torch and continue to build our beloved deen in these United States of America. We have had those who have sacrificed to build organizations in our communities, to build our masajid, to build ICNA and ICNA Relief, and to build CARE, and to build the Muslim Legal Fund of America, and to build MAS, and to build all of our local organizations. Those brothers and sisters sacrificed. The question to this Muslim community is, what have you sacrificed? What are you willing to risk and give up to allow our community to continue for generations to come? And that is my challenge to all of you. Sisters and brothers, you can always count on me through the slander and the defamation, through the critiques, not just from people who are not Muslim, the critiques that I get from the Muslim community. And if any of my critics are here today, here's my message to you. I don't do this work for you. I do this work because I love my Muslim American community. I love my family. I love my children. And my community is worthy of every risk that I put forward. I do this work because I pray to Allah that He accepts from me the work that I do every single day. You, my Muslim sisters and brothers, deserve to live in a country that loves you as much as you love this country. A country that respects you and respects your contributions. Before I leave the stage, many of you see me and you say, Sister Linda, we appreciate your work. And you say to me that you make dua for me, and I will tell all of you that the reason why I am able to stand here today is because of your du'as. They have touched me and they have kept me, sisters and brothers, strong, with my back straight, with my head held high, because I am proud to be a daughter of your community. Many of you know that I wrote a book, and I was signed by a major publisher, Simon & Schuster. And the story that I wrote is not just my story. I wrote a story of being a daughter of Palestinian Muslim immigrants. I wrote a story of my trials and tribulations growing up in these United States of America as an activist and organizer after the aftermath of the horrific attacks of 9/11. My story of being an unapologetic Muslim mother from Brooklyn, New York. A story that will resonate with you and that will make you proud to know that my book will be in the hands of people all over this country. But in order for my book to go far, I need my Muslim community to support me. I hope that all of you, before leaving MAS-ICNA, pre-order my book. The book is called "We Are Not Here to Be Bystanders." And I believe truly as a Muslim that Allah did not put us on this earth for us to be bystanders in the face of injustice. So this book is an inspiration, a motivation to allow you to be all of you and to allow people a window into the struggles of Muslim Americans, but also to know that we are a victorious, triumphant, and brilliant community that is proud and will always be proud of who we are. Thank you, my dear sisters and brothers. May Allah bless you all. May Allah protect you. May Allah protect your children. May Allah protect our religious leaders, our religious institutions. And you know, sisters and brothers, I give you this dua from a broken heart. And dua al-madloom mustajab. And I ask Allah to continue to instill in all of you the moral courage that we need right now to protect our communities and to continue to be unapologetically Muslim Americans. Assalamu alaikum.